I was meant to win. I am down on willing, so we'll find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, watch the money pile up. I'ma get rich. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast, where we're featuring the athletes of the 2024 CrossFit Games Semifinals. And I have with me Spencer Panchik. What's going on, man?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. Like, it's funny. I had Saxon on earlier this week. I see you guys like all the time back in the day, right? And then it's been like a minute since I've had either of you on the show. The last time I had you on, you were yet to be married.
Yeah, it's been. I just got married last year, so coming up on our first year, so it's good stuff.
So there it is, man. She let you wear a cowboy hat.
Oh yeah, that was. I was like, come on, please let me wear. Well, it started with boots, and then she's like, no, and I was like, just like, let me show you a picture, and then I was like, all right, like if I wore jeans, what do you think about that? And then I was like, all right, what about a hat? She's like, all right.
Well, you got a good one to let you do all that.
Oh, she's a keeper.
So how, is she with you into all this fitness thing? Is she into all that with you?
Yeah. So she's probably the most selfless person that I've ever met. So we actually met in the gym, but what's really amazing is she's there for every session that she can be. So she works during the day, but something we always do is she has the weekends off. So Saturday she comes in and she does everything that I do. And it's pretty darn cool because I feel like she's able to just really be a part of it and have a good understanding of what a day's like. Not saying that she doesn't, but I think being able to like step in and have the feeling of pain through workouts. And it's like, oh man, like that was so hard. Like we're getting some pizza tonight.
Yeah. What's cool is like, if people don't know and don't see the Panchik clan at an event, like everybody knows of you, Scott and Saxon. Your sister, she competed at semis on a team. Scott's wife is competing in the age groups right now. Like it's a whole family thing, and mom and dad are at the center of that, and nobody cheers louder than they do at an event.
No, not at all. You'll find my mom anywhere.
Yeah. 2 years ago, I got to sit with them in the stands at Wadapalooza. And it was a treat. It was funny because they were like right to the right of me. And then Matt Fraser's parents were right to the left of me.
That's amazing.
So like parent royalty right there at Wadapalooza.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's always cool being able to see like the other side of it. And I think watching is way worse than actually competing. Especially like growing up with Saxon and Scott, I felt like I was always a little bit delayed with really finding myself in the CrossFit, like the competitive side of it, and being there and supporting them through like the early years, especially Scott through, I think Saxon qualified in like 2015, but there was like a stretch where it was just Scott competing. It's like 2012, 2013, 2014, and then 2015. And it was like insane just watching, and the stress, like everyone would be like, oh, it's a vacation. I'm like, it does not feel like a vacation going to the games.
Yeah. So what's funny is I ran into your dad in Orlando last year after semis. Can you guess what he said to me?
That means a wild card. I have no idea.
He said, why does that kid always have to make it so close?
just keeping it exciting. My wife said the same thing.
And what's funny is once you get past semis, like you do really well at the games. Your 2 appearances are both top 20. You've made it through all the cuts. You make it to Sunday.
Are you a better games athlete than you are a semifinal athlete?
I think they're different stages. At the CrossFit Games, you have two, sometimes maybe three times as many events as you do at semifinals. So you're able to really, it's just I don't want to say it's a more complete test, but you're able to have highs and lows. And if I've learned anything at the games, it's you have to let a bad event just roll off your shoulder and you have to keep moving on. I've had like a few unfortunate things that happen at semis, and I think training with Saxon and Scott, I've always set my expectations very, very high. And anytime I get it in and start competing, it's I'm going for it. And rather than I need to run my own race. And I think that's something that really this last year I really dove into, trying to find that and just be as relaxed as I possibly can. And I truly believe by me going out on the floor with a game plan and just sticking to that game plan, it's going to allow me to have the most successful season yet.
Well, and you and Saxon look alike, but you are not alike in the way you think about working out, right? When I got to sit beside you when I was judging Saxon for Rogue, like your idea is all gas. Let's see how long we can hold on. And Saxon is very methodical and pacing and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have you curbed the all gas no break approach to working out now?
That's old school CrossFit. That's definitely how it used to be. It's who can go out the fastest and hold on. And I look at our sport and it's evolved significantly. I mean, I've been doing CrossFit since 2008, so it's been quite some time. And I feel like I had a chance to really go through different stages. I've had a chance to work with different coaches. And again, I've learned something from every single person that I worked with. And I think that there's so many different ways to obviously train for CrossFit, but everybody's completely different. Like I look at Saxon, Scott, and myself, we're all different athletes and we each have different needs for what's going to make each one of us independently successful.
Corey Leonard says that clock looks like Spencer has a halo.
It's a big clock. My wife picked it out.
Yeah. You just need to show that picture to your wife to show her that you do have a halo.
Yeah.
There you go. So you're drastically different. I saw you at the games last year as you were packing up to go, loading up the pickup truck, just kind of sitting on the back tailgate. When it's all over and you're sitting there doing that, like what's the thought process? Are you like reliving the weekend, or you're like, I just need to get home and rest?
Yeah, you're always going to relive the weekend. It's going to be if I did that, or I would have changed this. And I mean, every athlete's going to go through that. And you look at how much work goes into competing at the CrossFit Games, and it's summed up in 5 days. And all those hours, and not many people really understand the amount of time that we put in and the sacrifices. It's the hours we're spending in the gym, not really steering from my diet, not having as much time with friends, traveling, all that stuff. And you look at it and all those sacrifices come down to 5 days. And you obviously want to go and put on the best performance that you possibly can at the CrossFit Games. But again, it's so unpredictable. And once it's over, it's just all those thoughts just roll into your head. It's like, did I do everything in my power to show up? And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And I mean, I would say a majority of the time and a majority of the athletes are going to say, man, like there's something that they would have changed. And again, that's what's so beautiful about our sport though, is you refine and you go back and you change it for next year. And then maybe something else comes up. And again, that is what's going to make you become a better athlete. And again, it just takes time.
So like in that moment, are you beating yourself up for what could have been, or are you praising yourself for making it this far and enjoying the weekend?
That's a really good question. And I look at my older brother, Scott. Obviously he went through the sport and he's felt all these different emotions, and he'll say like, you have to go and really be proud of your performance. But at the time and coming off the floor and really thinking about it, when you're there, it's so hard to put yourself in that position and really think about the good. And that's something that, again, I think I'm changing my perspective on that a lot more, and really being able to enjoy that and take moments through the weekend. Because again, I remember watching Scott compete and it was like that. And that's the last thing I want to happen in my career, is to just become so consumed with it that it's just gone in the blink of an eye. And again, I think when I think about, Scott asked me this yesterday. It was actually a really good question. And it was, when you think about the glory days of doing CrossFit, what is that? And I think of Saxon, Scott, and I training in the gym. Like, it wasn't really any competition, but it was the hours that we went into the gym. We took GHDs and we took a punching bag to the beach and did like sandbags with the punching bag, and the punching bag busted open and it's stuff flying all over the place. And I look back and I'm like, man, like those are the days that I remember, and the days that not everybody gets the chance to see and experience. And to me, like those are the days that I really remember, is just grinding in the gym with those two guys.
Well, speaking of Scott, last year at Wadapalooza, something unique happened where your third teammate got hurt, and the two of you got to take the floor, just the two of you, to compete in a 3-person team as 2 people. And you beat most of the field.
Yeah, that was really cool. We were begging to go out on the floor, and both of my team, I was supposed to be with Nick Matthew and then Luke Parker were my teammates. And then I'm trying to think, there was somebody else. I can't even remember, because we filtered through so many teammates that weekend. Somebody kept getting hurt. But we got through one event, and that was something I really wanted to be able to do, was go out and experience individual and the team in the same weekend. I was like, man, like that'd be a cool thing to just add on my bucket list. And that didn't happen, but I remember we were just begging to go out on the floor, and all we wanted was one workout together to really be able to go out there. And it was a pretty good workout for us. And it was really, really fun.
Well, what was cool about it is it had like 3 levels of barbell, and the two of you took the 2 heavy ones. So neither of you got the rest of the light barbell like other teams could rotate through, and yet you still did that. Will that be a memory with your brother that is one of those things that you can think about later in life and go, man, it was really cool when they let us take the floor and do that?
Yeah, that absolutely. I remember, we were on the, there was like double unders. There's like 300 double unders, and we're just like smiling at each other. And we get off, and Scott's like, all right, you're on the heavy bar, because he's retired. He hasn't been training as much, and he's just like pushing me forward. And anytime we drop, like he would just like, he was behind me, he was just like, pick up the bar. And then obviously Saxon came over and was cheering us on, and I was laughing because Saxon's like, I was going to hop on that third bar, because they were one of the few teams that beat us. But I'm like, man, that would have been really cool if you jumped on the 135-pound bar. But yeah, that's one of my highlight moments for sure.
Yeah, it's because of the situation and it just being the two of you, it's something nobody else is probably going to experience as brothers, like on the floor like that. So it was just really cool.
Yeah, anytime I get a chance to compete with those guys, and Wadapalooza has always done a really good job at it. It's so fun. I remember it was 2 years ago at Wadapalooza, but like we were all in like the 3 lanes next to each other, and we all did pretty well in the event. But to like be able to be under the lights and just look, and it's like, man, there's not that many, like there's a very small percent of people that compete at the highest level in the sport, and to be able to do it with your 2 brothers, like that was always like, that's pretty darn cool to be able to do.
So I also saw on your Instagram that you have made an attempt at tactical games.
Yeah.
Is that something new that you've dove into and really enjoy?
Yeah, I had a chance to go out and train with Hefner, and once I went out with him, I was like, oh man, this is like really, really fun. But I have the fitness, and I was always passionate about police and first responders. And anytime I get a chance to really surround myself with those guys, I want to be able to do that. And going out and training with him, I was like, this is fun. I have half of it. I went in and I did a little bit of the police academy. So I had a little bit of exposure to shooting and that kind of stuff. And I think being able to blend the two together, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's humbling. It's very humbling. Because you have people that can shoot, you have people that have fitness, then you have people that obviously do both of them. And again, it's just like CrossFit. The person that's the most well-rounded is going to be the most successful in that sport.
Well, I've had Margot on, and I've had E. Shershawn, both former CrossFitters who have dove into tactical. E, she's dominating the tactical games. Like, she was a prison guard who was a CrossFitter. Like, the blend of the two just fit her perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope we start to see more CrossFitters kind of switch over to that. And again, I think that's a cool transition through, I don't want to say out of CrossFit, but it gives you more events to be able to train for. And again, as you get older in the space, like you want to like everybody's competitive. Everybody wants, like, some people go run marathons, some people do 5Ks, some people do Spartan races. And I look at this sport as something similar to that. And it's all right. This is like, it's cool because it's bringing awareness to fitness and heart rate. And you have to really be able to manage all of those things together.
Yeah. And there's a lot of CrossFit, like you mentioned, Jacob, Jared Stevens. Like, there's a lot of CrossFitters switching over to this.
Yeah.
And really having a good time.
Yeah. I think Cody Anderson, I think, is another one in there. He was at the games.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm doing 2 later after the games this year. I set them later at the end of the season, so I can really like dive and have a couple months to really train hard for it. But I'm excited about it for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on to talk about it. It's something that just really fascinates me in that space, because it's the same type of community with just some different goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody's, I mean, from what Jacob has told me in a few of the interactions that I've had with a lot of those people, is it's such a tight knit community, and everybody's willing to help. And if you're going to compete, there's people, it's like, hey, like, what do you need? What can I lend you that you can use to just get your feet in it? And again, it's a sport that I look at it, and again, I have a very high level of fitness, and I'm okay at shooting. But to be able to have a lot of the people that are like really good at shooting, that it's, hey, like, I recommend this. If you need to borrow this, I can send it to you. I can help you get your guns dialed in. And there's so many people that are just willing to help you get set up in that space.
Corey Leonard says only sickos run marathons.
Yeah.
I know I've run 2, finished 1. So let's get to semifinals a little bit. You're going back again. This has been what, like your 6th or 7th semifinal now?
Yeah, something like that.
Counting regionals and all of that. We're in Knoxville. The workouts have been released. I talked to Saxon, like, you guys are classic CrossFitters, right? You're OG, you grew up with the sport. If you take these workouts and drop them into 2015, they still work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that an advantage for someone like a Panchik?
I would say so. I mean, a lot of it is just, it's so hard because we have them we got them like 4 or 5 weeks early. So everybody's going to get a chance to be able to get comfortable with them. And us being the last semifinal, I mean, people will run through them I mean, some people run through them probably 4 or 5 times. I wouldn't be surprised. So it's, I think each week you're going to be able to see people and scores really progress. I think, I mean, obviously CrossFit left out like some of the different standards of like, how are you going to hold the dumbbells? They just released that we're going to be running outside, but yeah, I look at it as it's, we always talk about it as like your CrossFit IQ, and
Yeah.
it's how comfortable are you with these workouts? Do you know your paces? And there's every workout is just a fine blend of everything. Like I can't find one workout in there. It's like, this is for just an endurance person, or this is for just a strong person. Like the strength, for instance, it's like you have to be able to have the capacity to be able to move a barbell for 30 reps. Just like in quarterfinals, where most people got to the last bar and the top level athletes were between 20 and 30 reps. Some people just a little bit above that, but it wasn't necessarily like your top tier strong athletes that went and won that workout. Like you had to be able to have the capacity to get through all of those light bars relatively fast and still be able to move that heavy bar. Same thing with the endurance event. It's 185, like a 185 clean and jerk. Like, I mean, you're not gonna really, your light guys aren't going to be able to cycle that barbell as fast as a strong person, but they're going to be able to make up time on that run. So like, you're going to see a lot of back and forth on that. And I really think that's how all the events are.
Yeah, I completely agree. Boz did reveal that the dumbbells are farmer's carry.
Oh, did he? I
Yeah.
didn't even see that.
Yeah, it was on Barbell Spin a week ago.
Got it. Wow, man, I'm out of it. I didn't even see that. I remember picking those up. I was like, dang, man, like this is crazy. And then every time I played with it, I was like, oh, all right, like this feels a lot more comfortable. And again, I think something like that, you look at it as these events, if you look at them as games events, and it's like, all right, this is your next event, hour, go warm up. And it's all right, how well am I going to be able to adapt and be able to really come up with a solid game plan without being able to run through those workouts? And kind of like what we talked about earlier, how the semifinals, quarterfinals, the open are completely different than the games.
Exactly. So you can stop training the overhead walking lunge with that.
I actually didn't. I figured they'd be on the side, and then I was like, I looked at it. I'm like, that's pretty heavy. I mean, that's a pretty heavy weight. 70 is pretty heavy for the girls. I mean, I saw some girls doing it, which is insane. But I mean, even for the guys, it's pretty heavy. And I figured they'd probably be on the side, but you never know. I figured they maybe said get them down any way you can.
The only thing they haven't really talked about is what the handstand walk is going to be.
Yeah.
So what we'll find out in less than a day.
Yeah. I think for that event, I mean, whether you go fast or you do obstacles, I still think, I mean, I feel like you'll still get a relatively similar result. That's just my opinion. With your top level athletes, obviously, if you have like handstand ramps with like parallettes in between or something like that. But I think if you're doing like pirouettes and stuff like that.
So you were at West Coast Classic in 21, right? With the snatch ladder.
Yeah. I blew up in that one.
Are you excited to take it on a second time?
I'm very excited. I think it's actually one of my favorite tests that CrossFit has put out. And I think with it being, I think it's event 5. I think it's going to be a lot different. I think you'll really be able to see different athletes shine in it.
Yeah, the past 2 times they've done it, it's been event 1.
Yeah, and I still think you'll have people put up like top scores that would have been a top score then, but I don't think it'll be as many.
Yeah, there's a lot of squatting before that this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, and with it, they're squat snatches, right? They have to be squat snatches in that ladder.
Yeah.
So that's a lot, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That'll be a fun event. I think Sunday will be a very exciting day to watch at the semis.
Oh, agree. I think really they've done an awesome job programming this year.
Absolutely.
We're way more balanced. And if you haven't seen it, I think Barbell Spin did an analysis of like, they always do this thing like what workout impacted the weekend the most. And like during quarterfinals, it was an even split. Nothing went above anything else. And looking at these workouts, the prediction is it'll be the same.
I agree with that. I think, yeah, like I said, I look at all the events and I'm like, man, like I don't see one event that it's like, all right, this favors a certain body type or a certain type of athlete.
So what is the realistic goal for semifinals? To cut it close again, to make your family like
it's never to cut it close. For me, I think it's to be able to just show up the best athlete that I can, and I know exactly what I'm capable of, and if I can go out and just execute, I'll be extremely happy with my outcome.
Yeah. Corey says, wait, you can't power the last two at 265? That's BS.
So I know somebody would if they could.
Yeah. All I remember from that West Coast Classic was Tola trying to go touch and go on that last barbell.
Yeah.
And missing it.
Yeah. He put himself in a position to be able to do it. Would have been really cool.
Yeah. I think that's what I love about the sport is a lot of times the athletes take advantage of that shot to do something really cool.
Yeah. And that's what I think that's what's awesome about the CrossFit Games is you have so many events that you're able to do that a lot more. I look back at my history competing, and I've tried to take those shots at points that I should not have. And it backfired. And I think it's really being able to be smart and understand there's a time and place to be able to do that. And you can really, you could end your season. You really could end your season if you misfire.
You told me when we were hanging out at your gym for Rogue that you always got to do it for the people. So now as you've gotten older, you're saying you don't always do it for the people. You wait for your moment to do it for the people?
Yeah, you know your capabilities, and then you do it for the people.
There we go. Yeah, because young Spencer, it was just you always do it for the people.
Yeah, and that was, my year at West Coast. That was, I went in and my goal was to go and try and put up a top score in every event, and I won an event there, but I also really ruined my weekend in another event there by trying to do the same thing. And again, there was one event that I knew exactly what I was capable of, and that was something that I could really throttle down, and it paid. And there was an event that I'm like, I'm going to do it. Like, this is like, I trained for this, and I was not completely aware of my capabilities, and it was actually the run, but I just wasn't smart about how I approached it. And again, that ruined my weekend. And I truly believe it knocked me out from going to the games that year.
Yeah. You had some ups and downs that weekend. Like, you set a world record in the one event, and it was an event that Matt Fraser had done previous, and you beat his time by like a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's being able to know your capabilities, and that's something that I've really explored through training this last year, is being able to find that line in training. And that is the time to be able to do it, not on the competition floor, and to be able to become more aware of your capabilities through training so that you can go out on the floor and have moments like that. That are good, not bad moments where it's like, I'm not sure, but I'm going to push it and not be smart. And you end up taking a bottom of the pack finish.
So I'm going to finish with this. That West Coast Classic. So Old Spence, you had a workout that you knew was a home run. You knew that you could give it all you got. Are you an athlete today that if you were going back to West Coast Classic with the same workouts, would you go as hard in that workout, or are you a different athlete now where you kind of pull back on that a little bit and just
No.
win by a little?
No, I think a workout like that, I'm very, very comfortable and understand my capabilities in those specific movements that, yes, I can push something like that and I can ride that red line. And if I cross that red line, I'm able to dial it back just a little bit and still be able to finish. So yeah, like that event, I wouldn't change, and I'd maybe even push it a little bit more today. But yeah, I think an event like that, like I would really push, and I think other events I would dial it back, and I'd be like, all right, like this is what I'm capable of in this, and do not cross that threshold.
So that beast is still in there wanting to get out.
Oh, it's there. It's there. You can't lose that.
Well, Spence, this has been a blast. I want to thank you so much for doing this. Thank everybody in the chat for being here. Good luck in Knoxville. I'm still trying to get down there, so that's the one I probably can get to. So hopefully we'll see you down there.
Heck yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you everybody in the chat. We'll see you next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. Bye, guys.